Another late night here, starting at 10. We're gonna start moving it at 6 o'clock, starting Monday. So I'm not gonna do it tomorrow, only because the Super Bowl is coming out and I want to respect your uh, viewing of the Super Bowl. Let me know in the comments who you're going for. But this episode is not about, the Super Bowl game. So, today I just want to go over, some of the things in the past what I've seen where, I talk to guys and then just we're trying to make sure that they get their A&P. And, that's my mission. I'm Jose Zaragoza, owner of Code One Maintenance. Also founded a military maintainers transition program because my mission is to help you get what you need from transitioning from the military service to the civilian side of things. And I want to ensure that you get the correct credentials and what to look for when you get out, right? So we can make that super smooth. Finding a career that's gonna help you do that transition, give you the warms and fuzzies to get out. And sometimes guys don't get out because they decide to stay in and want to feel safe. And even though that, and I'm not saying that the military service is not a good idea, but what happens is that they stay in, make everybody else miserable in the military, because I've had to hear this when I was on the flight line too. And this is the big reasons why I started this, to help you guys make sure you're on the right path. Maybe I would have gotten out if I would have known about an A&P. So my mission is to grow the awareness of the opportunities that are out there, resources that's available to you, because these aviation companies are looking for people like you that have the experience on these aircraft, that can handle things under pressure, can abide by these safety regulations, and they just need somebody with great work ethic. And who better than you guys to be the solution to the A&P shortage that is going on across the globe? And that's my mission, because we all want to make an impact into this world, make an impact in your families, that you can provide and you can be uh, feel happy and fulfilled when you get out. Because this information wasn't given, wasn't taught. 14 years in the military active duty, and nobody talked about A&P until I separated, or I was close to separation. So this is what I'm going to, this is my mission. I'm very passionate about this because, I've seen guys break down of not seeing their families. And then and then I've seen some friends who've gotten out of the military, they didn't know anything about the A&P. I get comments all the time talking about, oh, I wish this was around when I was in. Well, thank goodness for social media. Thank goodness for creators like myself who can make content easily available and break through this noise that you have to go to college, or you have to go to contracting, or there's no opportunities out there. Because guess what? There is. So this is what I enjoy doing. I love it to help guys find employers or a career path that they are happy and fulfilled with. So sometimes what stunts them, not just making the change, but it could be as simple as taking a 2-week course to get their A&P. They don't want to do the whole studying part. They'd rather, be working at the bottom uh, rung of the ladder. And I got a story for you that is I see quite often. This happen a lot. And there's organizations that will help you with the financial part, even if you got out. So I want to grow the awareness of the resources available to you. All right. So you might delay doing anything because you think that the decisions you're making is safe, it's responsible, it's you can't fail, right? You have this anxiety or this worry that if you don't do anything, you won't fail. And sometimes we justify it by I'm safe, and if I don't do it, I don't quit. So if you don't take the risk, there's no embarrassment, right? And I can go on all the other types of thought process. The mindset is, but it's costing you. That little bit of pain is costing you, right? We don't stay consistent with a 4-year degree because it's taking time out of your PS5, fortnights, and instead of putting a couple of years of pursuing your goals of obtaining that degree, a couple of weeks of not, can't sacrifice a couple of weeks to get your A&P, but you don't know as that's costing you. And I was like, oh, I'll just wait after the military. I got this heavy, hectic schedule. But thousands of guys in the military, even crew chiefs, I've seen this with my own eyes, and I'm an example too, is that you can go to school and knock this out, even though that you're working 12 hours, right? And on top of that, working out, and guys also on top of that have families. If you have a family, I've seen guys more ambitious to get, to knock out their degrees, to knock out certifications, to knock out extracurricular activities. And I can already hear the guys talking about, oh, those are the guys who are, pushing papers and stuff like that. Yeah, they take advantage of that time. But I've seen guys pursuing kinesiology, I don't know if I said that right, doctor degrees because, that's a passion of them. But the thing is, you gotta stay on track, put away the Instagram or the OnlyFans, and knock out these goals that you have, because if you don't do anything about it, it's gonna cost you at the end. So I'm just gonna go with, I'll start off with a story. Okay, so there was a contractor in Tucson that I kind of saw the writing on the wall, a year prior, and I was warning guys, hey guys, I'm not just saying this because I have a business in getting your A&P, but this contract is not going to be here forever. And they already, there was already discussions or, some tensions about this contract not be around. But guys didn't do anything. It wasn't until the day of, and I had a flood of calls and messages because they just got word that they weren't going to renew the contract and they had 3 months to find something else. So, and I've already told them a year prior, I did have a roommate who was they call him the RA, and they was already getting funds to stand up in active duty unit. And it wasn't like it's any kind of secret. It was out there. People knew about it, and they just didn't want to do anything. And when the day happened, I went straight to the county and talked to them about this. Hey, a bunch of these guys are getting let go because the contract has ended. They just got notified. I'll do the courses for free to help them out, but they might need help. I went to them because I was trying to help, because I knew they had connections to the industry in the local area, and I was trying to connect them to all these employers around the area or around the state. And when I told them, hey, I'll provide the classes for free. I paid an instructor for the evening times to come in and provide instructions so they can go in and knock this out. Well, what happened was that they uh, all, they all reached out to me, set everything up, something right off the fly so they can get their A&P and be prepared. Well, my classrooms were filled. Like there were people standing, they didn't care, and standing to to be there on the first day. Well, what happened was by Friday, I don't know what I was doing. I think I was on a trip or something like that. But on Friday, I get a call from my instructor. And my instructor said, hey, I just got to the shop, been here about an hour, and there's nobody here. They didn't take advantage of this great opportunity. And the county set up, the county set up a whole event for them to, I forget what's called, like a job fair. There you go, a job fair to, start, connecting with the employers. And a lot of them didn't go because when they went to go look for those jobs and talking to recruiters and talking to the companies, they told them, hey, you don't need your A&P, you can come work with us. And they hooked them that way. And and it sucked because because when I went to the county that day to help them connect with the employers, the county said, hey, we actually have resources for them to pay you, so don't do this for free. Don't not do this for free, they told me. And I was like, okay, if you're gonna help them out, then I'll get paid for it. Cool, whatever. So, sweet lady, and she retired a little after that situation. And it sucked because they used tax funds to pay me, and then they were gone halfway through the course. Like nobody showed up because they told them they don't need the A&P. And I was trying to negotiate with them, hey, come get your A&P and you can go. Well, guess what? That costed them because now it not only it costed them the cost of the course, but it also costed them thousands of dollars to move up or have higher pay in that companies. So we had people come in after a year, 2 years to get their A&P because they realized that they were doing the same work as an A&P, doing all the hard, doing all the work, like the hard stuff, and just waiting for somebody, an A&P, to sign them off or sign off their work, right? So the consensus was, I might as well get the A&P because I'm doing the same thing as they're doing, but they're getting paid more. And I can only do so much. I try to warn them, and that I don't know if I would say they got taken advantage of, but I try to warn them. They decided to go another path and put this on the back burner to start working. It wasn't like they had a couple of months to knock it out, and because the contract was going to be over in 3 months when they got the word. So I told them to get prepared a year prior. Then when it happened, they went get into a job right away. So and then the company didn't even pay for it. It came out of their checks. They just put the money up front. I mean, which the county already did, but a year later, the company just paid them up front, and it was going to come out of their check. So either way, it costed them thousands of dollars to, and also, if they had their A&P, they would have been at a better pay scale, right, on a projection for their pay. So this is why I talk about get your A&P as soon as you can. Get your A&P period if you're going to be in aviation maintenance. And because you're going to be missing out on thousands of dollars. So with that experience is it's a very common thing that guys get out. Oh, I'm gonna get it after I get out. When things calm down. No, things just start ramping up because now you're looking for work. Now you're writing out all the resumes and you waited all that time and you lost out on opportunities. And because they required you to have that A&P. And there's guys right behind you who have their A&P and you could miss out on your opportunities. And that's happened to a few people. I was like, oh, you don't have it. They don't even get a call back because, they're missing the A&P. So even if it's 2 or 3 months they had to wait, you missed out on a smoother transition and you missed out on thousands of dollars of them covering, getting into that position. Then it costs you those months or years to get ramped up because you didn't have an A&P. So this is a lesson I want you to learn from these guys that decided to wait until they felt the pain and um, missing out on thousands of dollars of not only the course itself, but also the pay they would have been receiving. And this is why it's important. This video is important because I want you to learn from these decisions and the mindset. Because companies will take you in as cheap as they can. You provide a bunch of value, and I guess a lot of veterans don't understand that you guys are valuable. You have a set of skills, a certain type of mindset, and loyalty that these companies are looking for. But they took advantage of that and persuade them to come work with them right away to fill those gaps they were filling. But you missed out, who knows how long of, what is it, 15? Let's say you would have increased your pay $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 you missed out because you decided to wait, get your A&P when things settled, when things weren't, urgent at the moment, you could have had your A&P. So when things are going good and great, knock it out. But everybody's busy. You just gotta set your priorities straight and knock out that A&P. Don't wait till within 6 months of your separation to get your A&P. Why? Because what's gonna happen is that you're gonna get, especially medical, right? I don't know if this is still the rules in, but it was very common that within 6 months you can start on your medical records and start going through that process. And that's a lot of meetings, appointments, missing work, all this jazz for you to, so you can get any kind of VA benefits or payments and all this jazz. So do it outside then. Start putting your, set your priorities straight. I had a conversation with a senior NCOIC, one of my the chief master sergeant, and I asked him if I feel bad because if I take a couple of days off, those guys are gonna be having to pick up my work, right? We're all guilty of it, right? Most of us feel guilty of it. And he told me, it was like, if I was in your position and you're trying to get out, then you shouldn't feel guilty because nobody's gonna pay for your bills on the outside. Once you're gone, we'll find the next guy to come in and replace you because you're just a body to them, right? So his advice was take care of you, get this knocked out. The work will be figured out. We'll adjust, and because this is just a normal thing. People come and go, 1 or 2 years, they're in and out. So it's nothing new to them. So don't feel bad if you have to take 2 weeks. We need to set ourselves up for success after the military. Why? Because if you wait too long, then you're gonna create more chaos, lose more money, and But if you plan it correctly, you avoid all those things. You avoid the chaos, trying to crunch everything in the last 6 months. You avoid missing out thousands of dollars. You don't miss out in that opportunity that could set you pretty well off and not be put back in line, because once your resume goes through, then what? Right? You want to have that A&P ready to go and making it smooth. And recruiters tell me all the time, if you're gonna get out and not get your A&P, at least, at the very least, get your FAA form 8610-2. That form never expires. Your experience never expires. So it's not that it's not too late, it's just you don't wanna do it uh, during this chaos of you out processing and retirement and all these appointments that you have to go to, that's set up by the military, and that's too much chaos. Do it before, and don't do it when you need a job, because that's the worst time. Okay, it's the best advice I got as a business guy is, when you want a loan, don't do it in an emergency, because they can sniff that out and you're the most vulnerable. Do it before you need it. Do it, build the relationships in the meantime. So when it is time to do it, you've already established relationships. So what that thing is, get your A&P when you don't need it yet. And then when you do need it, it's already readily available. It's in your resume, and you hand it to that, a recruiter or that HR or that director of maintenance. Okay. So get everything prepared beforehand. Life will be so much easier. Okay. Because I've been through it. It's chaos. It's chaos when you have to be at a certain appointment. You don't want to be, having to leave, the course during that time. I have to make this appointment, right? That sets you back in the studying. Then that sets you back on having your A&P. So smart thing to do. Do it within, a year to 6 months before you start doing all these appointments. And if once you have your A&P, and let's say that contract would have gone, you already had your A&P, you could have worked at another place, maybe starting you off at a QA position or a leadership position, depending on what kind of experience you have, right? So that's why I always say, get it done as early as possible. Okay. And yeah, everybody's schedules are hectic. So what you want to do is start prioritizing it. Set your schedule, because it's going to need all your attention. So hopefully this was valuable to you. If you think that somebody needs an A&P or is looking to get their A&P, or don't even know about their A&P yet, talk to them about your A&P. If you're a leader, talk to them about the A&P. You're setting them up for success. Let's say they want to go to university underwater basket weaving, right? In your head that that's not A&P shit, unless you're doing awesome on OnlyFans or something like that. But you want to set your troops up for success, right? The guy that told me about the A&P, he was a flight chief, or somebody that he was a supervisor over me. However, we really didn't, is one of the very few people who we just didn't click together. He was awesome supervisor. We just didn't click. But what he did for me was awesome. It was like, hey, go do this. He didn't even give me an option. He was like, just go do it. And it sent me to like go down this rabbit hole, what it was, and start Code One. If it wasn't for him and I didn't know the A&P, I wouldn't be here right now. And helping others is like, it gave me a fulfilling mission to help others out do the same thing, because it just blew my mind of what kind of opportunities are out there. And I wanted to stay working on airplanes. I'm a big gearhead. I love working on my cars. I love machines, and continuing to work on aircraft, would have been awesome. But I do have a passion for business. I love business. I love providing as much value, though, even though I've messed up before. But hey, that's part of business. That's part of my own ignorance. But I've been doing this free for the last couple of years, helping guys get out, getting started, and getting them through the A&P. That I enjoy this. So if, but what I'm learning is guys who come in, get it done for free, they don't do much with it. I could be texting them all the time, sending them emails and telling you, hey, get your A&P, and no movement. But when you do pay for it and it comes out of your pocket and you make this investment to stay in Tucson or stay in Texas or Florida, wherever, and you're around your buddies or other military guys on the same mission, you get it done, and it's it's amazing to see what you guys get done when you're in that type of environment, and you got some really deep skin in the game. All right, so and I noticed that is a huge motivator, right? Investing a little bit, have skin in the game to knock this out. So if help you out your guys, to talk to them about the A&P. If you want me to talk to them about it, send them my way. I'll help, I'll explain a little bit what opportunities, and some of the content I'll be putting out there will be helpful for you to understand what opportunities are out there for you. Even if you do it for 1 year or 2 years, there was one time that Regional Airlines was providing $50,000 sign-on bonus for military maintainers, and they filled up their pipeline real quick. I'm glad to be a part of that. They were giving brand new technicians at another one for $40 an hour, and they filled up their pipeline really quick. So we helped them with that. Not only that we provided a course for them, we let everybody else know, like, hey, join this. Hey, if you're planning to get out, check out this company. You start off at $40 an hour, and they have several locations around the country. Go to this airline. They're giving out $50,000, and they just want you to be there for a year or two. So those are the opportunities, and when I have come across those opportunities, I let everybody know. So that was a awesome investment on their side. So again, knock out your A&P, because when it's time, you want to be ready for these opportunities. So again, let other people know to knock out their A&P, at least to have that in their back pocket if they ever have to just make a step into the civilian world, get some aviation done for a year or two, or let's say they go out and go to school, but they don't plan to be in aviation. They want to go do something else. They can have a little side gig, in aviation, and as an A&P working on little airplanes, easy stuff. And as they go to school, those are those cases. So I just wish that I had a few friends who got out and they didn't no clue about A&P, and it would have helped them. Nothing wrong. That's where they were working. At this company is just, I knew they had great skills, amazing leadership, that this would have been a stepping stone for them to get into while they went to school. And they didn't, the job that they had was part-time, but it was nothing they were excited about. And they would have much rather stayed in the Air Force, of course. But second of all, they would have enjoyed staying in aviation, because that's the skills they obtained. And lucky for you, they're going hardcore looking for military maintainers. So be ready when those opportunities arise. Again, if you know somebody, send them my way. I'm best to be reached at LinkedIn. My name is Jose Zaragoza, and we glad to help these guys get started and push them through the A&P process. But that's it, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. Stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Pulling chalks now.